Our norms are. The social worker, district social worker, and also the community liaison, which really in a nutshell means I just move all around the district. You might see me in your school. You might see me at another school. I come out to the events to support you. I am moving all around the district. I graduated from Ypsilanti High School back in the 80s. All our Ypsi alum, where you at? Back in the 80s. Well, they not 80s, they younger than me. Oh, he older than me. Dan Brown is my guy. And so today, gentlemen, I really am happy that we are now talking about mental health. Mental health was taboo when I grew up. It was, as somebody said, for crazy people. But what we understand is mental health is real and it really does matter. How you regulate yourself, your emotional intelligence, how you go about your day, things that you have encountered that may have caused you pain and strife and hurt feelings. It's all how you go about your day. And so I have the opportunity to bring in men who have sports backgrounds. And that's what I wanted to do today, to talk about mental health from the sports background, athletic background. So some of you are going to meet some professional players. A couple will be on Zoom, but the others will be up here and they will share their story, vulnerable, open, and in the way they want to about mental health. And so I'm asking you to ask questions, to get involved. Don't stay in your same circle. We have adults here. We have people from the community. I want to introduce our councilman, Ypsilanti, Roland Tucson. He's on the Ypsilanti City Council. Stand up, Roland. He is a young man that is doing things in our community. You can be anything you want to be. All of our YCF staff, not YCF staff, all the YCF staff, stand up. Raise your hand, stand up. We have our YCF staff here to support you. I'm asking you to stay in this area. Please stay in this area. The bathrooms, you go out this door, turn right, turn right, turn right, and they are on your left. You come back this way. We will have breakout sessions. You'll be with Santino and Sean. Santino has his name up, hand up. Santino and Sean will take you doing breakout sessions. We have a great lunch for you. You'll be out there sitting down. We have a couple people that'll be on Zoom for us today. And so I'm just asking you to relax, enjoy yourself, ask questions. We have resource tables out there for you. And then I'm going to have a couple other things so that you can take with you and put in your backpack as we move throughout the day. Any questions? Oh, let me say this. Excuse me. Taryn, stop. This is Tara Willis. Everybody say, hey, Tara.
Hey, Tara.
Works with the district on the outside part, but she does just a kid from Ypsi. I do. You don't know my story. And this year we collaborated together to bring this to you. So I am hoping that you will enjoy yourself. There are some QR codes for surveys. So I'm going to ask you to pull out your phone and use the QR codes for surveys. But I want you to leave here and say you have met some people. You know some people that work in the district. You know our community members. We have Dr. Kimberly Jones. She used to work at the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office. She was a professor at WCC, and she is an attorney. So I want you to get to know people. We have our school board trustee, Janice Townsend, in the house. We have I'm calling people like names. I call them Miss Verini. I just say Verini, social worker over at ACE. Kanika is social worker for WISD. Kyle is behavior specialist over at ACE. Dr. Terry, he is at WCC. He's with Advanced Ypsi. Please talk to him. Please talk to him. Stop at his table. He has some great information for you. And we have Coach Brown. Yeah, say hey, Coach. Say it like that. Say hey, Coach. And we have Solomon Young here, who is our tech person, and I am going to, oh, Turquoise Neal, I'm sorry, Turquoise Neal. And just, y'all give her a hand, y'all gotta give her a hand. We were here last night and man, they towed her car. And we was running all around trying to get the car. Oh. Yeah, that was an experience. They came, yes, and instead of just saying, hey, go in there and see if somebody in there with the car, they put it on the hooks and we out there. It was an experience. So she was back here early this morning with me, making it work. Have I missed anybody? Have I missed anybody? Solomon Young came in, also give him a hand, because he came in at the 25th. Zane, Solomon Zane. What did I say, Young? I said Young. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Neil. Okay, y'all ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, Tara, and your panel, you can come on in.
I don't want to, yes, I'm not on the panel.
Yeah, we both did it. Oops, I got mine. I appreciate it. Might move it. Supposed to be up here, bro.
Okay, good morning, everyone. All right, so I want to introduce real quick, this is Melanie Smith, and she is an intern at Eastern Michigan University. Or she's interning with me from Eastern Michigan University, and she's going to be the Just a Kid from IPSI moderator today. And we also have JD, who is one of your classmates, and then Jalen, scoot up just a little bit. All right, they are also going to be engaging in the conversation and asking questions. So students, you might get a question from your, thank you, because I was gonna say colleague. And so Melanie's gonna get started by introducing herself and then also asking each of the panelists to introduce themselves also. All right, go ahead and stand up, Tim.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for speaking. Use your teacher voice. Okay, if all of our panelists could please introduce themselves and let us know what you do. Start with you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Johnny Epps. Right now, I'm the service center manager for Michigan Works. Prior to that, I'm an Ypsilanti grad, class of 1992. After graduating from Ypsilanti High School, I played Division I basketball at Missouri State University. The two-year starter, letterman, all academics. After I graduated college, I played professional basketball for 6 years overseas. Some of the countries I played in was Taiwan, China, Macedonia, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, and Dominican Republic. after playing overseas, I got back into the workforce. I started off working at Ypsi Public Schools as a parapro. For 2 years, I worked with first and second graders. After that, I got hired in Washtenaw County working with juvenile delinquents. From there, I got the job where I'm at now for 15 years. I also coach basketball. I coached at Ypsi High, I coached at Lincoln, I coached at Canton, and right now I'm currently coaching my son in travel basketball. We play for the family, we play for Lindsey Hunter, we play for Common Bond, and right now we're playing our second year on the Puma circuit. So just a little bit of my background.
Thank you, thank you.
It's time for me to get a lead back there. No, my name is Opio Shaw.
No, you.
Oh, I thought you said that. My name is Opio Shaw. I'm a Willow Run graduate, class of 1996. Born and raised right here in Ypsilanti. I was a Division I football player. I received a full-ride scholarship to the University of Toledo. I also attended school at Eastern Michigan University, and I'm now a business owner here in the Ypsilanti community. Run a print shop called the Print Giants. Printed the shirts you have on. We do a lot of printing for Ypsi community schools, Lincoln, local schools. I have 3 sons, one graduate from Lincoln High School. I have another one getting ready to graduate from Lincoln High School this year. He was a senior. And that's me. I'm a proud member of this community. I love working with the kids, giving back, and share my story with you guys.
Thank you, thank you.
My name is Thomas Squines. I'm from Chicago originally. As y'all can see, I work for the Sheriff's Office. Been with Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office for the last 19 years. Currently, I'm School Resource Officer at Lincoln. Started my SROing here at Willow Run. It's at Willow Run. It's over at Ypsi High School, and currently now at Lincoln. As I said, from the Chicago area originally. Played D1 football at the University of Michigan. Was a 3.5-year starter. Offensive line, played both guards, both tackles. Played in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals. Played in the CFL with the Edmonton Eskimos. Played over in NFL in Europe. Won a World Bowl over there, the equivalent of the Super Bowl, as captain of that team. Played arena football, won an Arena Cup while doing that. Came back to the University of Michigan. I was a strength conditioning coach for football and basketball. Got tired of that and came over to the Sheriff's Office. Been with the Sheriff's Office for about 19.5 years now. Live in Ypsi Township. I hang out in Ypsi. I consider myself a second son of Ypsilanti at this particular point. Go to church over at Second Baptist off of Hamilton. George Waddles is my pastor. And just happy to be here with you young men today. And hopefully we start making some connections and giving you guys something to think about as far as what your next step is going to take. How many seniors I got in here? Good. It's that time, young man. And once this year is over with, that's when real life starts to happen. So hopefully we got some plans in place. Everybody else, you got a little bit of time. Strongly suggest to you from an academic standpoint, get on top of them grades if you haven't already done so. Some of your faces look a little bit familiar, where I dealt with another Q&A sort of situation. And proudly enough, a lot of guys had 3 points and above. So as you continue to move forward academically, because as you move forward, it's only going to get tougher. So thank you for your time, and ready, have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna get right into the questions. My first question, and answer when you feel it's appropriate. What does it mean to be strong? And do you correlate being strong with grit?
I think being strong is simply rising to the occasion, right? How many of you guys have ever been scared of something? Well, everybody should raise their hand. Everybody should raise their hand. So strong typically has a connotation of being physically strong, how much you can lift and all of that. To an extent, it has something to do with the physicality of things, but also, can you be mentally and emotionally strong? I lost my dad several years ago, and watching my mother go through that whole process of planning the funeral and everything else, dealing with family, all of that. Never saw my mom cry. I'm sure my mother had her moments to herself, but her level of strength that she was trying to show was more so for me and the other surrounding family members in order to keep everybody else moving in the right direction. When you have that level of fear of whatever it is, but you still have the ability to rise to the occasion, that to me is what's being strong. If you find yourself trying something and it doesn't work out, do you give up? Or you get back on that proverbial horse again and you try again? Are you finding ways to make yourself better? To me, those are aspects of being strong. And that's where the grit part comes in, right? Everybody, remember Detroit Lions? Y'all like the Lions? Yeah. I'm a Bears fan, but anyway. Ugh. Hey, we see you got that green on today, though. Fly Eagles fly. But anyway, that was one of their main things that they talked about was grit. Everything's not going to go your way, right? You may come from a challenging family situation. You may be struggling in school. Your girlfriend cheated on you. Whatever the case may be, life is always going to show you some level of problem. I woke up this morning, I was just telling these gentlemen up here, I woke up this morning, my basement flooded. Still here, still got a smile on my face. Why? Because that right there is an inconvenience. Me letting my basement be flooded and then having control over my emotional well-being for the day, when I know I have to come over here and converse with you young men, that to me would not be being strong. It would be saying that I'm allowing something on the outside having a direct effect or control over my emotional state. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's where the grit part comes in. When you find yourself up against the trouble, you got to meet it squarely face to face. Right?
And then, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Opil, what is your definition of grit and how do you correlate it with being an athlete? How would you correlate it to being an athlete?
Already on strong, but okay. Grit, the word grit has some layers to it. And when dealing with these young men in our community, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I think the terms like grit and grind, they get a negative association, in my opinion. To some of us, we feel like it's positive because it's like, I gotta stay on the grind, but at the same time as he was speaking, being full of grit, being so ready for the grind, but then not being in touch with your emotions and not being in touch with balance. A lot of our young men learn how to grit and grind, but don't learn how to be in touch with themselves, don't learn how to be honest with themselves and how to deal with emotions. Grit, how hard can you love? Can you be okay with love? Or do you feel like loving is weak, or do you feel like this? So grit to me is being in touch, as you said, with your emotions. Being able to stay strong in times of adversity, having balance, knowing who you are as a person, even outside of athletics. When you're pushed or persuaded to go a certain way, but that's not really how you feel inside, do you have enough grit? Do you have enough grind to stick to your own line, stay in your own line and your own lane and how you want to move? To me, that's for where we're at and the young men we're dealing with, you guys here today. That's the kind of grit that I think you guys need to have to try to adapt. So that's my, grit.
Thank you.
And so we're gonna, before we go on, I want to have student participation and have him ask one of the questions to the audience real quick.
So. All right, so what are some challenges you face in school and what are some resources that you use to overcome them?
Go ahead. Yes, can you stand up, please?
So I said, what are some challenges you face in school and what resources do you use to overcome them?
Yeah. I need to overcome it. I just do the work Can we comment from the panel? I gotta ask you, brother. You said when he asked your challenge, you mentioned that the teachers are your challenge, which is okay, that's all right. What's challenging with your teachers? And only reason I ask because ideally, that's supposed to be one of your resources. So if your teachers are a challenge for you, what's the challenge? Start with. Elaborate.
Trying to test my ego, or I don't know what it is.
I got you. So how about, no, stay standing up, young brother. How about this? Sometimes, man, especially at your age, and this, I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. Your teachers are a resource. They there to help you. Not to say that they're perfect, not to say some of them, they're humans as well too. They have personalities, and sometimes personalities don't mix. It don't matter the age. What I've come to find out as an adult, as a man, and this is levels to being a man, even in adulthood. A lot of times you got to look inside first. I'll flip it around and say, okay, your teachers are a challenge to you. What can you do, or what do you do in the situations that can better that situation? Or what are you bringing to the table that maybe you're a challenge to your teachers? If we be real about it, are you being a challenge to them? You said it's they're trying to challenge your ego. At your age, that might be a situation you might need to check your ego. Because if an adult is telling you that or if an adult is challenging your ego, 9 times out of 10, your ego might be out of line a little bit. And at this age is the time to be humble a little bit, listen, and let me work on me. We have some young ladies that are not young, we have some ladies in our community, and they're big on this work on you. I'm big on this. I could find a problem or a situation, whether it's in my office, whether it's with my wife, whether it's with my kids. As a young man, I would oftentimes look at them or that situation as the problem. And I could focus, I could get angry, I could get emotional, all the things they doing wrong and how it's affected me. And you usually don't get resolved from that. Where I started getting, this is just me personally, where I started getting better resolve is when I started saying, what can I do in this situation? What am I doing wrong? And if you can't find anything that you're doing wrong and you can't find no fault in the situation, you totally out of line. That's any situation. That's relationships, that's business, that's in sports with coaches. It don't matter. If you can't find any responsibility that you have in a situation, that's a problem. And if you find yourself spending more time focusing on other people's responsibility or what they're bringing, what their problem is, what's wrong with them, you're gonna find problems all your life.
And he makes a good point because teachers are a representative of bosses. So eventually you're gonna have to step outside of high school and you're gonna have to work for a boss. And all of us adults have had bosses that we do not get along with, or we don't agree with their alignment, but we want that paycheck. And so this is just preparation for that next step in your life. So thank you. Somebody else had a comment over here? No? Okay.
I just want to piggyback on that real quick. We're talking about emotions, right? And you're talking about my teachers are trying me or testing me. Again, if you allow yourself to be tried or tested, you will always find yourself being tried and tested. You have to understand that certain situations, if it ain't put money in your pocket, food on the table, or a roof over your head, it really doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. And I loved how you said your ego, because that's really what it is. Your young male ego is bruised, and having been a young male with an ego who still has an ego, the bruising comes really easily. And that's why I feel like, and especially for my line of work, when I'm dealing with individuals your age that are out of pocket, and I'm looking at a majority of their responses, it's emotional responses. It's a quick emotional response instead of a rational response. And that's where I think the difference between boys, adolescents, and men is the difference, right? What separates us as human beings from animals? It's our ability to reason, okay? Your frontal lobe still isn't developed yet. That's why for young men especially, when you start driving and you start looking at your car insurance rates, why are they so high? because of the fact that your frontal lobe isn't fully developed and you still respond to emotional stimuluses instead of actually thinking through it. And theoretically, when you turn 25, that's when things should come into focus. Why can't you go to the military at 18? It's easy enough for me to tell you as an 18-year-old to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. As a 25-year-old, when I'm able to think about it, that don't make good sense to me. Does that make, do y'all get the point? It's easier for me to send you off on a crash out mission at 18 than it is at 50. Because I have the ability to think through it. So I love the fact that you were able to, articulate what was going on, huge. And I salute you for that. But what I want you to take away from what I'm saying, and what Peel's saying, monitor your emotional state and see what I can do better.
And real quick, also, we all have known egos to get in your way. If some of our best friends we grew with had an ego at your young age, and guess what? They're not here with us now because of the ego. So sometimes, you're young. Your coach will tell you to do something. If you don't do it right, you're gonna have to do it again. But your ego, I ain't doing it again. I did it right the first time. That's not okay. Go do one or two things. You'll be off the team or you're on the sideline running more. So sometimes we got to check our ego, like we've been saying, because sometimes your ego will put you in a worse situation than you are before.
That's a good point, as far as ego and athletics. So I'm assuming that you all are Gen Xers, right? And so when we played sports, there was really no like combativeness with your coach. Your coach said, this is what you're gonna do, and that's what you're gonna do. You just made a point, like your ego kind of gets in the way. So can you give some tools and tips on how to manage that?
So one thing, when I was playing and coaching, I tell my kids all the time, I forgot more about basketball than you know. And they sit there and think about that. So when we play, when the coach tell you to do something, you did. Coach Brown was our coaches when I was in high school, and he really helped shape me to become what I am now through that. But you have to realize you don't know everything.
Yeah.
You steady learning every day. Like now, I still learn things every day, and I've been out of college years. So the day you stop learning is the day you start dying.
I think the other piece behind it too is if you're playing and your coach getting after you, appreciate hard coaching. Okay? I think what's happening right now, and again, as I said, we're gonna keep it 100. I'm old. I grew up in an era where, do as you told. Where your generation falls short is because you feel like you're better than the situation. Or you take personally, goes back to that ego thing, when coach is getting in your butt. You got to realize something. This coach is getting in your butt. It's not because coach gets off on getting after you. It's because of the fact that coach is trying to get you to understand a concept, and for whatever reason, you aren't understanding that concept. When coach gets quiet, that's when you need to start worrying. Because at this particular point, Bo Schembechler, I didn't play for Coach Bo, I played for Coach Moeller and Coach Carr. But Bo was always around the football building. One of Coach Bo's main statements was, you coach the ones who want to be coached. There's only one of me. Time is pouring into a young person, and they're not accepting what I'm pouring in. When I can be pouring into another individual that's going to readily accept what I'm giving them, and then we're going to see that maturation process where they get better and better. So if they're on your butt, take it as a positive, because that individual sees something in you. They get quiet, that's when you really need to start worrying, because they are moved on to someone else.
How many people in here are athletes for YCS? Raise your hand. Good number in here. Good point. Go on to the next.
Thank you, panelists.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so getting into our next question, what strategies do you use to manage stress, pressure, and emotional struggles in your lives?
All right. At this age, I'm 47 years old, prayer and meditation. And exercise. Exercise, I'm not the 5 days, 7 days a week, working out 2 times a day, jogging and running miles. I'm just getting heavy on the exercise, committing to it, but meditation and prayer. What I tell you guys is, as young men, your spiritual foundation. That doesn't mean you have to be religious. That don't mean you have to believe in any one thing, but your ability to be in touch with yourself, your inner self. And everybody in here got an idea what your inner self is? Raise your hand if you got an idea what your inner self is, your conscious. How many people talk to themselves? I do. Okay, cool. So you got an idea about inner self. Man, being young men, and listen, let me just say this. I don't like to separate. I'm 47. I know that's, 20, 25 years away from where you are. It ain't that different to me. When I see you guys and I see some of your habits and behaviors and stuff like that, I knew plenty of guys, and some of the stuff I could remember as well too. People falling asleep in the auditorium when people speak in, all kind of stuff like that. It's not that big of a difference. But what I could remember being at 17 or 18, when it comes to spirituality or understanding of myself and dealing with stress, at that age, a lot of times you like to get into music, you like to hang out, you like to party, you get emotional about stress. As you get older, you start to find out a lot of those things that you use to try to curb stress or to try to deal with anxiety, they don't work. They may work for a second, but you will find yourself coming back to that same place, like, excuse my French, damn, I'm back here again. I hid, I ran away from it, I smoked a little bit, I was drinking a little bit, whatever I was doing to try to get away from that stress I was dealing with. Damn, I'm back here again. How I get back here again? Because you're not in touch with your inner self. You're dealing with it outwardly. So I try to take time in the morning. I try to take at least 30 to 45 minutes in the morning, even if it's not exercise, to pray, to meditate, talk to myself, think about life, think about my family, the stuff that's important to me. I have to take time for myself. So I think the biggest thing that I can tell you as far as dealing with stress is take time for yourself. My dad used to say this to me when I was young, and I did not understand it. He used to say, man, sometimes take some time to touch your toes. And when I was 14 and 15, I used to be like, touch your toes. Yeah, okay, I get it, but I ain't really getting it. By the time I started being 30, 35, I'll tell you like this. Some of you all know between your parents, uncles, and some people, adults, can't touch their toes. Think about that. Physically, you cannot touch your toes. So to be a man or a woman and to be 20, 25, 30, taking some time to reach down and touch your feet and be in touch with yourself, the energy, the flow of the blood in your body, it means something. Right now, you're probably like, man, what is this dude talking about? Take a chance when you get out the shower tonight and you're just chilling and you watching, put your phone down for a minute, touch your toes for a minute. Feel your shoulders, hug yourself for a minute. Man, listen, it's the most natural type of fulfillment that you can really get. And it don't take anything external. You don't have to spend no money. You don't have to spend no energy. You just with yourself. So I try to take time in the morning, give myself 30 to 45 minutes to just be in touch with self. And I'll tell you what happened. It does not mean that I don't deal with no stress throughout the day. Sometimes I'm gonna be honest, I could meditate, and by the time I get downstairs, my phone ringing, the first distraction is stress. But the way I can deal with that stress throughout the day, I can find myself coming back to myself instead of getting lost in the day. And that's the.
So would you say stretching or meditating in the morning makes your day better? Or would you say that it's a difference in your days?
I can't say it makes my day better. I can say it allows me to deal with what comes from the day better. The day is gonna be what it's gonna be to some extent. Don't get me wrong, you can make things and you can move in a certain way, but you can't always control what comes at you. But my preparation can help me control how I handle things that come my way.
How many students in here right now, how many people meditate? Anybody? Okay. Do you listen to like music to kind of get your day started? Like what helps you get your day started and to come out positive? Can somebody give me an example? Go ahead. Stand up, please.
Wake up.
Okay, amen. Anybody else? Go ahead. Court.
For me, when I wake up, I don't touch my phone. I just do like push-ups, sit-ups, jump squats. I get myself together and I grab my phone. Everybody, so at that point, I'm in my head thinking, like, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, great for school. I was thinking to myself, like, I'm talking about my day gonna go, like, talking to myself, up, especially when I'm brushing my teeth, looking.
Okay, and I'm gonna challenge y'all to put that phone down. You know what I mean? Like, because that is just like, if somebody at work told me, I can't remember what the word is, but it is just nonstop drama. Cause I know y'all on Snapchat, on Instagram, all these things, watching these stories, and us adults get into it too. But it's putting negativity in your, starting your day. So try and listen to something positive. Find some meditation podcast or something that you can do in the morning while you are getting ready that's feeding positivity in your life. Go ahead. You had something? Go ahead.
Now wake up and just I thank God now just pray. Thank God for waking me up this morning.
Absolutely. Somebody didn't wake up this morning.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Anybody else? Hey, Mr.
Hey, I just want to throw some notes out there at y'all, because I know having worked in a school and everything else, seeing some of y'all, all y'all got earpods, headphones, everything. Be conscious, be cognizant of what you're feeding your spirit. Okay, and everything that Miss Tanner just said and O said, one of the things in being in law enforcement and a small study in which I was kind of working on, especially dealing with juveniles, adolescents, when they commit crimes, what were they listening to prior to? When I was playing football, I used to be a huge power lifter, 525-pound bench press. I'm not listening to Luther Vandross. Okay, I'm not listening to Chris Brown or whoever it is that y'all listen to today. Everything in which I was listening to either before going to play a game or I'm about to attempt a heavy lift was uber aggressive. I'm opening my spirit up to be very animalistic in whatever it is I'm about to go do for that endeavor. What I have found is when young people are out committing crimes, and because y'all are the world's greatest self-snitchers because everything has to be on social media.
Amen.
Thank y'all for helping me out. Because I need to post everything. The music that you're listening to, it's not edifying God. It's not edifying you as a person. It's not edifying our race of people. It's about getting you ready to go act out in a very aggressive fashion with whatever it is that you're going to go do. So be cognizant what you're putting in your ears. Be cognizant of who you let around being in your circle that may be spitting that same sort of venom in your ears. And lastly, I'm gonna finish with this because I know we on a schedule. I see a therapist. And I say that openly. Being in law enforcement for 19 years, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, seen a lot of death. I've had at least 2 people kill themselves in front of me this close, where I saw the cat get killed. I don't know, and if you're related to this individual, I say in all due respect, over in West Willow, the whole Facebook thing, when my man died on Facebook Live, I was there. I stood over that young man and watched him die as my guys were working on him. But I'm providing scene security because we didn't know what we didn't know until we did. That same day I got sent to the hospital over at St. Joe's because they were bringing in a 3-year-old who was dead, probably from child abuse. And for anyone that knows me, I love the kids. What I ended up finding was, and O was talking about exercise, the gym was my church. That day, I normally spend maybe 90 minutes is my normal workout. I was there for 3.5 hours and I couldn't get that funk off of me. I had a friend call me, he was a therapist. And when she called me out of the blue, we hadn't talked for a while. And I said, hello, verbatim, she said, let it out. And I sat in my truck and I cried for 10 minutes. Reason why I cry, I'm telling y'all this, is, we're having conversations about what it means to be a man. When I cried, it wasn't because I was, it was because I was keeping it 100. I was full of that shit and I couldn't get it off. And my mood and my emotional state was so heavy and it was broken and I didn't know how to fix it. And if you know anything about cars, y'all know what a rev limiter is? When it's in the red, I was in the red. And I've been in the red for years. And it's because of all of the major traumas that I've been a part of and the micro traumas that I've been a part of. And we all have them in life, whatever that degree may be. Be conscious and cognizant if you find yourself in the red, because if you stay in the red too long, what happens to the motor? It blows up. I was a very, very angry person and I didn't know why. And my lieutenant, after some of my experiences, her husband was a sergeant at his particular agency. He dealt with a lot of child porn and all the things that he saw. She ended up putting me in contact with his therapist, black male, which worked great. He was a Kappa. I'll let that slide. I'm a Q. But we had things in common. And he also has been a part of law enforcement. And so when I say the whole therapist thing, and I know some of you guys may not get it or understand, but I do know that you have social workers in school.
Yes.
Find your social workers, find your person to go talk to and to be able to emote. Y'all know what emote means? Y'all know what catharsis is? It's the purging of strong emotion, fear and or anger, right? Sadness. Find that person that you can talk to.
I love that. And I want to just reiterate with him that you're right. YCS has great social workers. You can ask your teacher, your principal, if you're needing something. Also, your parents' insurance or whatever insurance, it covers therapy. And so don't be afraid to reach out. You might not be able to reach out to your parent, but reach out to another adult that you trust and ask for that assistance. And therapy is really like a fun way to, not a fun way, not all the time, but a way to express yourself and not be judged too. All right.
And y'all didn't ask what I was saying.
Go ahead.
So man, you feel comfortable sharing your thoughts with another person?
As a man, do I feel comfortable sharing? I feel comfortable sharing my thoughts with a person that I trust.
Mhm.
And there's a difference with that. I don't sit over here and just spill my guts to anyone because I can't keep it 100. I don't know who's going to take that information and possibly use it against me in whatever way, shape, or form. As I said, find your person. If you're my person, got no problem having that one-on-one, whatever it may be, right? But again, be selective about who you let in your circle. And if you are selective and these people have shown themselves trustworthy, they have your best interests at heart, and you have seen how they interact outside of you. If I see you over here doing a bunch of silly stuff that is causing a lot of negative attention for yourself, does it make sense for me? Hey man, I'm having a bad day. Does that make sense? Because at some particular point, you telling that individual you're having a bad day may not work out for you because they may find a way to either A, make fun of you, or that deep, dark secret you just told, did they keep it to themselves? I had to go run away and tell somebody why. Now I tell y'all when I'm in school, do this entertainment. What's funny about y'all are so easy to geek up, to sit down on crash out missions, strictly for the entertainment of other people. Hey, I heard such and such said X, Y, and Z about you. What? You don't even go verify what was being said. All of a sudden, your easy button was pushed, and now you're out on a mission to go take care of your ego. So to answer your question, yes, but it just has to be the right person.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for your vulnerability. Did you want to comment?
Yeah, just talk about the therapist piece. You know, in the Black community with Black males, it's taboo. You don't need to talk to nobody, suck it up. 3 years ago, my mom passed away, unexpected. Me being the oldest with a family, I didn't know how to grieve. So how did I grieve? When I'm coaching my son, I'm taking it out on him. Boy, why you miss this layup? You should have got that rebound for 2 weeks. until my wife pulled me to the side. You about to lose him. He's about to quit. She said, you need some help. She said, I don't know what kind of help you gonna get, but you got to get some help because you about to lose your son, your daughters, and you about to lose me. That was a wake-up call. The next day, I found a therapist. And I was able to talk to them about things that I suppressed for years. When I was in the 5th grade, my parents got divorced. You don't understand how stuff happened when you was younger, but when you get older, have a family, how does it affect you? So all that stuff came out. So for 2 months, I talked to my therapist twice a week. Plus, with our line of work, we're givers. We're always giving to help people out. My therapist asked me, what do you do for yourself? I had to think, yeah, what do I do for myself? Do I ask people for help? So they gave me a task to do, ask for help. So my line of work, every day at Michigan Works, I get phone calls, try to help people find jobs, training. I'm always doing. I supervise 30 people. So that's 30 different personalities I have to deal with. So I can't go to work driving in, listening to Pop or Biggie, because I'm hyped up. I'm older now. I gotta listen to some OJs, some Luther, because they calm me down, because I know what my day is about to entail. But at the same time, getting that help, and like what he said, someone you trust. That's the big difference. You have to trust someone, because what you tell them, they can run away with it. Tell everybody else. Now my ego about to kick in, and it's about to be a whole different situation. But sometimes you got to find that person you trust, talk to them, and sometimes you got to look into yourself. My big saying, I can only worry about things you can control. If you can't control it, don't let it worry about you. I tell my wife every day, I said, we can't control that. We can't control that, it's raining. But we can control, we go outside, put that umbrella up. So you have to worry about things you can control, and it's okay to talk to someone for help and assistance.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, we're gonna get into our culture topic. So my question to the panel is, from a Gen X perspective, how do you feel you are now represented in media and popular culture?
What do you mean by represent as Black men or just older guys?
Yes. Black men
I think
in general.
All right, so it may be unpopular. We hear it. As an older male and being brought up by the men that raised me, there was something to be said about manhood. There was something to be said about being presented in a strong masculine way. And there was a lot of things in media when that whole toxic masculinity thing came out. Y'all heard of that? So anyway, toxic masculinity was a term that came out a few years ago that was counterculture to what I would say we as Gen Xers was raised upon. I believe that as Black men, and a lot of the media senses that we show are shown in less than strong positions. That a lot of times we are left out from a lot of the nuclear family nuances that you may have going on. And my biggest thing right now is that, as O said, either you evolve or you die. I think as a Gen Xer, I have evolved to be able to say exactly what I just told y'all. I was dealing with stuff and I needed to go talk to someone. At the same point in time, if I need to stand up and be that protector or provider, I'm able to do that all day. But as we evolve as a culture, I'm more in tune with my emotional state. And as long as I'm with my person, I'm a lot more comfortable talking about my emotional state if I'm having issues with it. Does that make sense? I'm still that old grumpy man that I'm becoming, get off my front yard guy. But at the same point in time, I don't have a problem talking about if emotionally I may be struggling. And I think that's where, as a Gen Xer and whatever we call it time right now, that's where I feel like, at least for me, I'm starting to have that connection. Because OB was, hey, you suck it up and you just push forward and you put that in this little box and you put that with the rest of your little boxes.
Do you guys know what generation you are?
See,
Speak about, can you hear you?
see,
Z? Okay, okay. I know it's like X, Y, Z, something like that.
Don't forget the millennials.
Right.
It's a millennial.
And Gen X is the only generation that's been in 5 different decades. That's crazy.
So when it comes to,
And we're gonna, this will be our life, because we have people on Zoom that are gonna be joining us.
when it comes to how we're portrayed as black males or as males, I would say my biggest focus or my biggest concern is how we portray ourselves a lot of times. Through social media, through our music, which I'm okay with music. I grew up with rap. I like rap. Some of the artists older, Too Short. Again, I don't like to push the big difference because the music you listen to now, of course, is different. It's 20, 30 years later, but a lot of the content, a lot of the hurt, a lot of the stress, a lot of the anxiety, emotional distress, it's all the same thing. Some of it is elevated and it's not your fault. It's probably our fault because we came before you. But when it comes down to how we're portrayed, I feel like we as a people, we can't always control what other people do or how other people portray us, but we can control how we portray ourselves. I'm not big on telling young men that they got to pull their pants up about sagging. Now, yeah, if your pants is down too far, in my generation, you guys didn't start sagging, we did. Sagging started when I was in high school. So, but I was always this, I always had an issue with someone to focus on someone's pants more than what can come out of their mouth or out of their head. Sagging is a style. A lot of your styles, your Crocs. I hear people, all these kids coming, I don't care if wear Crocs. My only issue with my son with Crocs is say, man, if something happened and you have to run, and he told me that they got sport mode. So I learned something. I say, okay, they got sport mode, you know. Listen, I came to speak at the school and I had an issue with the hoods on and with the hats, like a lot of you guys have on right now. When I was in school, we couldn't do that. But I had to understand that there's a difference. It's a change.
But even with their hats, you see how old that is? Because we had those back in the day.
Yeah.
They had college teams on them.
It's like this, man. People can think of you and they can look at you a certain way and feel a certain way or have their own in their mind made up of what you are, and that's fine. It's more important about how you portray yourself. And then actually not even just how you portray yourself, how you really carry yourself. What's your real? Who are you? How do you present yourself? How do you talk to people? How do you treat people? How do you take care of business? You know, are you kind? How do you handle yourself in your community? That's the portrayal. And if we, as men, young men, teenagers, if we control our own, you know, the way we're portrayed, it really won't matter. It'll change what's on the TV. And like a lot of people say this, the rap music. Now listen, the rap music is not just something that people just made up. They're not just making up the lyrics and making up they see it somewhere. So these are things that are happening in our community that people are rapping about and talking about. The way the kids act in the schools, the way you young men come to school and behave and act, that is a direct reflection of our community. That's what goes on in our households. That's what goes on in our community, good and bad, even the good thing. So so when it comes to portrayal or how we're portrayed as men, man, life is hard, but it's fair. Deal with it. You know, you paint your own picture. You know, people could think of me in a certain way, or they could, but by the time you get a chance to know me, by the time you get a chance to talk to me and interact with me, that'll paint the picture.
All right, thank you. So I would like to thank JD and Jalen, sorry, for being our student question askers. Right now, we're going to have the younger portion of our Just a Kid from Ipsy. So we have Corey Allen and KJ, just Corey Allen on. And Amir Osborne. Corey Allen is a former basketball player at Ypsilanti High School, and he's now playing in Romania overseas, which is a great experience. If you have the ability, and I know YCS does this very well, of traveling outside of the United States, do it. I know a lot of these people on this on this panel have traveled outside of the United States, and it's just so nice to see what other people and what other cultures do. And Corey Allen has now had that ability to do that, and he's gonna chat with us a little bit.
And he getting paid.
Right.
So we are going to, let's do this. Guys, stand up, stretch out. Everybody stand up, stretch out. I know you guys have been here for about an hour. Stand up, because we gotta make some, we have to make some adjustments on the other side. Don't go anywhere. We are gonna get started in like 2 minutes. I just want you to stand up and stretch out, please.
Oh. Wow. Let's figure out. Oh.
Unless that took me a minute.
All right, we can get ready to start. You young men have been on waiting. Come on, have a telephone. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We got about 20 more minutes and then you can get up and move around. Need my phone. Before we get started, I want to introduce you. Our mayor is here. Anybody know the mayor? Any of you know the mayor? You do not count. You do not count design. You do not count either. Anybody else? Anybody know the mayor? All right, who's the mayor?
She's a black woman.
She a black woman? Okay, you know that, right? She a black woman. Okay. Where's the black woman mayor at? Stand up. All right, Mayor Nicole Brown is here today with us. We have our principal from ACE, Leslie Davis is here. Where is Dr. Kelsey? Dr. Kelsey, she's the high school principal. She's here with you today. All right, and so we are getting ready to start the second half with Corey Allen and Amir Osborne. And this half, we're just talking about, as Wine said, the grit part of it. The mental toughness, what it takes to be in sports, to be an athlete, but not just that, but how it intersects with your everyday life. The dedication, the determination, the focus, and the consistency, and the commitment to do what you want to do. Okay, so I am going to turn it back over to Taryn Willard and Corey Allen, Amir Osborne. Turn on your cameras and come on live, please.
Thank you, Kara.
Turn on your cameras, please.
Hold on, one second.
Hold on for a second. Hold on, Amir and Corey, hold on.
Oh, that's right, I forgot. There you go.
Now, both of these young men attended Ypsilanti Community High School. They are Grizzly alum. They are Grizzly alum, class of 2016. Corey is here to my left. He is in Romania. Amir Osborne, currently he is in Miami, I believe. I don't know. He's been moving around a lot. I don't know. But give them a hand for coming on. I think Corey is towards bedtime now. It's about, we're about 7 hours out, so I don't know what time it is in Romania, but he's been willing to participate. Corey and Amir, you're gonna take your cue from Taryn and Melanie. All right, turn on your mics. Come off of mute, Amir.
Hi, can you guys hear?
Yes.
Oh, great. Welcome to, you don't know my story and just a kid from Ipsy. We're excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us via Zoom. So the premise of this discussion is around mental health. We have a room full of young men here. And Corey, we'll start with you. You graduated from Ypsilanti Community High School in what year?
2016.
2016, so pretty recent. And
Yeah.
now playing basketball in Romania. Tell us a little bit about being out in Romania and what you're doing there as your profession.
It's different. It's definitely different. You know, it's a different culture out here. They eat different, they move different, all that type of stuff. I don't know. I've been out here for 2 years, so I'm kind of adjusted. This is my 3rd year playing professionally, though.
Oh, nice. And so when you're in Romania, are there, excuse me, are there any people of color there?
Yeah, you usually probably see some. Just it's not a lot though. I've ran into a couple of like black people, like American black people, but they like come on like military duties and stuff like that. But usually you'll see like probably somebody from like France or something out here and stuff like that.
Okay. And so when you're in Romania, like what do you do outside of basketball? Like anything fun that you do to kind of relax your mind, relax your work day?
I go walk around outside. Just seeing different buildings and stuff in Europe is different. So I like to go to the mall and stuff and shop too. So that's pretty much what I do.
Okay. And so one of the topics that we're discussing is like grit and mental health. In order for you to get to the level of professional basketball that you're playing, that takes a lot of dedication. So tell us like what you did throughout high school, college to get to where you are and how you had to really hone in on that grit.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, I grew up in a household that we had to work all the time. You know, work hard no matter what. My dad would wake me up early in the morning. We go to workouts. Amir is my cousin, so he, you know what I'm saying, he stayed at my house a few times and he know what it is. He was athlete as well, so we got up, worked out. High school, probably 2 workouts a day. You know, we had practice. That's pretty much it. I was just a super hard worker, and I'm happy that I was able to go to college and play Division I basketball. And once I got there, it never changed. You know what I'm saying? I stick to my grind, and the words I use in grit. I felt like I had a lot of grit, especially growing up where I grew up. You know what I'm saying? In the household I grew up in and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I definitely had to work hard. So that's pretty much what got me here.
Now, one of the things that we were discussing was about ego and coaches. So tell us a little bit, because if I remember correctly, Brooks was your coach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Brooks is a tough coach. So tell me how that helped build your character and who you are now.
It helped build it a lot. You know what I'm saying? Brooks was he's a great guy, but he's a crazy individual. He's funny though, like, you know what I'm saying? But he's a guy that's gonna test you a lot. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say teachers test your ego and all that type of stuff. Well, Brooks will test you day in and day out. You know, he'll say stuff you don't like, but at the end of the day, it's all love. You know, he's a super loving guy, and I think he pushed me to be who I am today. He pushed me super hard. You know, he was like a father figure to my dad, so you see how that works. Like it's a triangle. But yeah, he's a super great guy, super great coach, and he got me. I give him a lot of credit for where I am today.
Okay, and now I know you have a younger brother who is a basketball player under him. And so what advice do you give to your younger brother or to these gentlemen in regards to moving forward with their athletic career? And again, like maintaining grades, maintaining their mental health.
Yeah,
pretty much just his whole life, I kind of been trying to be that big brother to just make sure that he's on the right track and stuff like that. So I just tell him the simple things, you know. I don't really like to preach to him a lot because he's my little brother and you know he's around y'all age, you know what I'm saying, junior in high school, about to be a senior. So he's not gonna want to hear it all the time, but when I can or when I see that he down and stuff like that, I'll make sure that, you know, come on, bro, like you gotta be on this track, you gotta do this, this and that. And it just always stuck with him. You know, me, my dad, and my family members, all my family members, we push him because we want to see him be great. And I feel like for y'all should do the same within each other. Like challenge each other to be the best you guys can be for sure.
Yeah, that's good advice. All right, we're gonna jump over to Amir real quick. Amir, hi, welcome to Just a Kid from Ipsy. So tell us a bit about you and your athletic background and what you're currently doing, because you have a pretty exciting job.
So like Corey said, I graduated from Ipsy in 2016. Played baseball. I was a baseball player my whole life. I literally kind of like lived, eat, breathe baseball. But when I got to college, I knew I could still play. We played a couple division. We were playing some Division I schools, and I was doing good during those times, which kind of gave me the fuel to like, hey, I could probably play college ball for real. But God had other callings and plans for me. I had other talents that I wanted to kind of seek out. And just through moving from Michigan, moving to Atlanta in 2017 for college, played a major part and kind of gave me a different perspective of things outside of sports, life, being around new people, creating new environments. And from there, I started to get into a whole whirlwind of things of social media, internships with record labels. And I slowly started kind of trying to find myself, you know, outside of sports. I was trying to figure out, you know, basically what's my identity? You know, what do I want to do? I was a baseball player my whole life. Okay, I gave that up. Now what am I trying to do? And you know, just through the grace of God, I was able to land some intern positions. Started working with like record labels, and then from there, I started working with like big music artists. Some people might know like the YFN Lucci's, the Little Babies, the Young Thugs, Lottos. I started to work around all of them, and had a career. I actually got willing. I had a career before I even graduated college, which is very rare, especially being a black man, to do something like that. So from there, I was working in music, but slowly I was starting to lose the love for music for just other reasons. And I have a cousin that plays in the NFL, KJ Osborne, and one day he gave me a call and was like, "Hey, do you want to quit your job and come work with me? Come do the same thing you're doing with me?" And I was a little nervous at first because it was something new, something that I haven't done yet. But I was like, you know, it can be exciting. It can be something, you know, a new journey. So got the call. And for the last 2 years, I've been working with my cousin. And then from doing a lot of work with him, moving around, showing my skills, showing my usage, I was able to get connected through other people. Some people might know Ray Lewis, NFL Hall of Famer. And he actually started his own agency, which I work with them. So I started my own company and still working with my cousin. And then I was blessed with another opportunity to do a joint ventureship with Ray Lewis and Andre Reed with their marketing company. So now I do marketing and management for professional and college athletes.
Doing big things over there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You went to Clark Atlanta, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your experience at a historically Black college or university.
It was a life-changing experience, honestly. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
It was life-changing. I think my auntie had asked me that one time about my decision on going to Clark, and I told her it was the best decision I ever made in life, and I needed college, and I needed to get away. And I think when you're younger, you're 18, 17, we kind of have this fear of moving away or, you know, moving far away, not just moving out up the street to like Wayne State or something, but like really moving far away, no friends, no family. It was kind of nerve wracking at first, but from going through that experience, and then also going to an HBCU as prestigious as Clark Atlanta University was, and learning my school's history and how rich my school was with alumni and the different avenues and things that I would be able to do just from being in Atlanta, changed everything. From my professors, a lot of my professors in the mass media department, teaching was basically like their second job. Their main job would always be something major within the entertainment industry, whether it was working in music, being a journalist, doing radio. And I'm talking about, this is at a high level. This isn't like low level stuff. So I had a chance to, just having those resources and connections, I took advantage of it. And that was one thing in college that I always wanted to make sure I did was I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to go to college and waste my 4 years in college and then I graduate and I didn't have nothing. So during those times when I had those professors, having Atlanta just in general, just being in Atlanta and understanding this is Black Hollywood, the Black Mecca, there's so many opportunities. It's a fear thing where that you have to get over. So once I really start getting out, start meeting people, I start utilizing my skills and my talent and not just waiting on opportunities to come to me, but going to fill out internships, going to talk to people. I wanted to do interviews, celebrities everywhere in Atlanta. I'll find them here or there. They'll be walking through our campus. A lot of celebrities graduated from Clark Atlanta and they still live in Atlanta. So just taking advantage of all those resources definitely made me grateful, and it definitely molded me to who I am today. Our motto at Clark Atlanta was always I'm gonna find a way or I'm gonna make a way, and I still live with that motto to this day. So I always young men and young women, if you can, going to a HBCU is definitely expensive. So I would definitely say if you can get a scholarship to go, because paying out of pocket can be expensive. But if you can get away and go to college and really get out on your own, I would definitely say do it. It's life changing. It makes you grow up very fast. It makes you create new friends. It makes you get to new relationships. It kind of builds out something within you. You start finding yourself. You're gonna have a lot of struggles because moving away is, as people might make it seem like it's easy, it's not. And from my mom can tell you, she's seen kids, graduate, go off far to school, and they come right back a couple months later. That was always me. That was almost me, not always me. That was almost me. Moving away is very hard, especially when you move to areas where you just don't know anybody. Like moving to Atlanta in 2017 was different. They didn't listen to the music we listened to in Detroit or in Michigan. They don't talk like us. People in the South, they don't talk like us. They dress different. They act different. They shake hands different. So it's like it makes you uncomfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, that brings the best out of you if you're willing to survive. So going to Clark Atlanta, just in a nutshell, like I said, it was the best decision I ever made in my life. It got me off into my career and everything, things that I'm doing today.
Anybody in the audience interested in an HBCU? Okay, guess what? WCC has an HBCU pathways program.
Hold on. Real quick. I have a special guest. KJ was able to join. He wanted to come on and say a few things to you guys.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Here. Welcome, KJ. My name is Taryn, and we're with Just a Kid from Ipsy today. Thank you for joining us. We're here with about 37 young men. So we understand now. What team are you playing for currently?
I play for the Washington Commanders.
Oh, okay. In DC, which is the greatest Black Mecca along with Atlanta. So enjoy that space. So we're just really here talking about what got you to where you are, things that motivated you and how you dealt with stress. So kind of give us a recap on what you're doing and how you manage stress right now.
Of course. Well, first of all, I appreciate you guys for having me. I got a flight to jump on, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it, but I definitely got some time, and I definitely wanted to prioritize this. And being where I'm from, where we're from, I always made it a goal of when I made it to the league, that I would always come back and give to my community. So I always tell people it's a dream come true. Even me being able to be in this position to speak to you guys. Number one, always how I've managed stress and how I've got to where I am today. Number one, my faith. I tell people it's not a secret. That's the number one thing that drives my life and what keeps me going, and what helps me to be able to manage all the ups and the downs is my foundation. And second, just motivation. When where we come from, and I'm sure there's everyone in the room could want to be doctors, lawyers, teachers. I wanted to be an athlete, and every time you tell people, you know, you want to be an athlete, they're like, okay, well, you know, you got to have a second plan, you know, because I don't know about that and this and just where being we're from, you know, it's not too many people that, you know, have just made it to the professional ranks. And you know, my friend group was very important at the time. I'm actually, you know, I'm going to a conference here in Atlanta in a couple hours with Tyler Mabry, who went to Lincoln with me and now plays for the Seahawks. And you know, we were really tight in our friend group, and you know, we call each other our accountability partners. And you know, we would you know, keep each other out of trouble, keeping our grades up, make sure we you know, men of our word, you know, putting the work in, putting the time in, and you know, that helped us, you know, get to where we are today. I would say with dealing with stress, I think it depends on like kind of where that stress level, you know, is coming from. You know, for me and my profession with social media and you know, and when people talking about you on TV and all types of things, you know, it's discipline. You know, it's blocking out that noise and staying focused. You know, keeping the main thing the main thing. There's so many things to be distracted by. But you know, I always go off the Bible. You know, the eyes, you know what I'm saying? It's a light to your soul, you know what I'm saying? And what you looking at, what are you feeding your spirit? You know, what are you reading? You know, for me and my profession, am I looking my name up after a game and I having a bad game? Of course they ain't gonna say nothing good about me. So of course, why would you be looking, you know?
Right.
You know, and if you're having a great game, you know, they're gonna feed you ego, you know, so it's never you're never as bad as they say you are, you're never as good as they say you are. So I think it would take, you know, just a lot of discipline, having, you know, leaders, you know, I'm sure you guys have plenty of leaders, you know, all around the room, and mentors that, you know, want to help you out, you know, being able to talk, you know, being able to speak to people, finding someone you trust, you know, young women, you know, young men, you know, finding an older woman, older man, you know, people with wisdom, people that are in the room that's better than you are, and that have been to where you are and that have the answers to, you know, these people have been in high school, they've been in college, they, you know, have grown and they have wisdom, being able to speak to those people about things that you are stressed about, and you know, just being able to talk to them and you know, give the advice on how to manage that stuff.
Okay, so what I want to do real quick is that I'd like to take one question from the audience. Does anybody have a question for Corey or KJ? No one? Okay, go ahead, stand up. Speak loud, please.
When you traveling, do you be taking people with you or like you be traveling all by yourself?
A lot of times my cousin, like this is like my, you know, when you're in professional sports, you know, a lot of times, you know, you have a lot of people that want to, you know, come around. And, you know, it just so happened that, you know, I do have my first cousin here with me. And even some of my other friends, they want to come on, you know, we can say like the team, you know, and, you know, what role they can have, you know, in the team because they want to be around. But I tell people, you know, Amir, you know, I don't just have him on my team because he's my cousin. You know, he does an amazing job and he's very helpful in what he does. And it's not just a thing of, oh, he my family member, so he just, you know, he just with me. He's very helpful. So having Amir around with me, this is usually who I travel with, whether it be wherever we go. I mean, we've been blessed to go all around the world. So usually it's us two.
That's cool because that's a good emotional support person.
Mhm.
And you know, you trust, you can be around and just have that support, family support. I had one other person over here who had a question. Go ahead, stand up, please.
Wait, which one?
They got
Oh,
two.
go ahead, Jalen first and then you, sir.
What was y'all, this for, Corey? Is it more competitive overseas?
I know Corey though.
What you mean more competitive?
Like basketball, is it more competitive over there?
It's super competitive. It's competitive everywhere, you know, in the States as well, but over here it's definitely a different game. It really depends on like what country you in. Where I'm at right now, it's more so like a kind of a bully ball game. You know what I'm saying? They like to they real handsy, you know what I'm saying? They foul and stuff like that. But it's super competitive, you know. It's always competitive wherever you at.
One other question, and then we're gonna have Melanie ask you a couple of questions in regards to culture.
This is more of a question for both of y'all. What goes through y'all mindset about this plan?
Like before the game or during the game?
Mainly both.
I say before the games, you know, I always get butterflies. I always have butterflies before a game, you know what I'm saying? That's never going go away. But as soon as I step on the court, you know what I'm saying, I'm in between the lines with you. You know what I'm saying? We got to match up. You tie your shoes just like I tie my shoes. You put your stuff on just like I put my stuff on. So, you know, it's just what I work on every day in and day out. You know, I put that on the court and do my best I can, you know.
I would say pretty similar. I mean, most of the time before a game, I'm kind of going over my preparation.
You're on.
I'm going over my preparation of about, you know, my film study, things I wanted to emphasize throughout the week. And most of the time, you know, your preparation should be so good that, you know, on game day we say just cut it loose. You know, so it's just not a lot of thinking. The more you thinking on the court, on the field, you know, whatever your sport is, you know, that's where you play slower, you know. So like you want to put your time in, put your work in. That's why practice is so important, to be so intentional in practice throughout the week. So when the game time come, you know, you can just let it fly, and your body is, you know what to do because you've been working it all week. Your mind is sharp, and you also you get that confidence. You know what I'm saying? I've been eating right, I've been sleeping right, I studied, I put in the work. So on Sundays, Thursday nights, Monday nights, whatever it is, when you get out there, you can go play. And then in the game, you know, you don't want to be distracted by, you know, all the other external things, which, you know, I've been a victim of. I think that's one thing. I would say, you know, younger in my career, it's like, okay, all right, a ball came, you know, DB broke it up. Oh god dang, like, man, am I gonna get another target? You know, is this gonna affect my contract? You know, is coach gonna do this? Is coach gonna do that? Like, you know, that stuff, you know, in professional sports and even high school, like, you know, I'm like, dang, like, I gotta get these offers. Like, man, I gotta score a touchdown every time I touch the ball. Like, you don't want to get yourself into that mindset. Like, focus on the game and what you have to do in the game to, you know, to be successful. And then, you know, that stuff will come, you know, later, you know, off the field. Like, let that stuff, you know, worry about itself. Like, when you're in the game, like, focus on the game. I feel like in my younger career, you know, I have fell victim to that. But, you know, just becoming like a veteran now, you know, I just stay focused on the game and, you know, the what's in between the lines, and like not the external things, because it can impact you.
Yeah, that's good advice. Like just basically blocking out the noise and focusing on your work. I have one gentleman left who wants to ask a follow-up question. Go ahead.
What do you do it for?
What did you say?
What do you do it for? Like, what's your mindset doing? Like,
Originally, man, when I first started, it was for my family. It was for my family. That was my mindset, and it was, you know, to help my family, to be able to, you know, provide for my mom, for my dad, just to help my family. I have a giving heart and a giving spirit. My mom, she still works, but, you know, I give her, you know, a stipend every month, so she, you know, she's you know, living well. I'm able to provide for my sister. She's in law school, so, you know, just being a student, a college student. You know, I was a college student. You know, you broke. You know what I'm saying? You don't got no money. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You know, so being able to, you know, provide her some money, provide money for my pops. You know, and different things he's doing. You know, being able to give back to my church home. You know, when I was there at Ypsilanti, I feel like that was always my mindset as a younger you know, kid growing up, just to be able to provide for my family. And then just as you get older, you know, it's just different. It's different motivations. Okay, like you make the league. Okay, now what? Now you made the league. Okay, now you want to stay in the league. I've been blessed to go on year 6, so I've just had different motivations. Whether, you know, whether it was climbing the depth chart. Okay, now I'm a starter. Okay, now I'm trying to have, you know, certain accolades, or, you know, now I want this for myself. You know, like, how good do I want to be? And pushing myself. Now it became like, you know, an internal motivation, not more so for the accolades or the trophies or contracts or anything like that. It was, you know, God blessed me with this gift, and I want to extract everything I can, out of myself, to be the highest, you know, or the best possible player that I can be in this short time that I'll have to play the game. You know, these guys, you know, in the NFL, you know, you play to, you know, I think the average year is 2 years or something like that. I've been blessed to, you know, I'm going on 6, and, you know, guys probably stop, you know, low 30s, you know, 30s. I'm gonna have the rest of my life to live. So I'm gonna really focus on this time in my life, you know, in this short time that I have, extracting everything out of it, having, you know, meeting relationships and people and things like that. And you know, so I think it's just kind of different motivations, just kind of as you kind of climb the ranks and kind of cross off your goals.
Thank you. And I feel like that applies to everybody, you know what I mean? Whether you're working a regular 9 to 5 job or an athlete, like you still have to focus and maintain structure. You want to move up, make more money, do things that are going to make you capitalize off your goals. All right, so we have Melanie, who is an intern from Eastern Michigan University, and she's going to ask you a couple of questions in regards to cultural things.
Hello, everyone. Hello, panelists. My question to you is, how do you celebrate and express your cultural identity when you travel? Take a second.
When you say like cultural identity, does that do you like does that clothes mean that clothes that's a part of that? Like fashion? Yeah, I would say so. You know, me and Amir, we just went to we went to Mexico for on a vacation, and you know, like the popular thing now, like airport fit. You know, like what you wearing to the airport. You know what I'm saying? Like people, I mean, I know like people do like get ready with me's and all. You know, traveling and stuff like that. And you know, me and Amir, we went to Mexico. We had like chains on. We had like just like our culture. You know what I'm saying? Like the black culture. And you know, I remember when we went to Mexico, like you know, we just got a lot of eyes. You know, we just look a lot different than people. Like the security pulled us over. Like, oh, we want to check your bag. We want to, are you guys rappers? Like, you know, like it's all types of stuff. And I just feel like probably probably wasn't right, but it came from us just expressing our culture and you know, like we got like hats, or I got dreads, you know, like jewelry on, you know, different just different things like that. I think throughout travel, you know, just it's kind of just it's just fashion, you know, just dressing. You know, people like to look nice, you know, have cologne on, smell nice, things like that. I think that's just a way, and just probably kind of indirectly just you know, expressing your the culture.
I think for me, it's the music that I listen to really. When I work out in the gym, like before practice and stuff like that, I always got a speaker and I play my music. And some of the younger, like Europeans out here or Romanians out here, they kind of like to tap into the music that I listen to. You know, they listen to like more so old rap and stuff like that. You know, the music or the hits that they heard or people know about. You know what I'm saying? And I play kind of underground music and stuff like that. So they kind of be like, what's this? What's this song? All that type of stuff. So I kind of like to put them hip to the new stuff that we got going on.
That is cool. Have you ever experienced microaggressions or racial bias in your sport? If so, have they ever affected your mental health?
Probably good for your baseball. Probably good for your baseball.
Yeah, I would say baseball probably seen more.
Yeah, Amir was the base, like more of the baseball guy. When I played baseball, I stopped when I was in 8th grade, and a lot of times, like the better you kind of got in baseball, like just like the culture was like you might be on the only black kid on the team, and so he was the fastest. He was probably the most athletic, and I remember there was a tournament where I stole home. And just so happened, like I like trucked the catcher. Where in like Little League baseball, you can't do that. You know, you can do that in the pros, but you can't do that in Little League. And I trucked the catcher, and the kid got hurt, and it raised like a uproar. Oh my gosh! I had my aunties pulling up, my mom yelling, and there's like a like a heavy set like white guy. You know, he coming at my mom and kicked this kid out the game, and all type of like just racial stuff and stuff going on in the parking lot. I would say, football, there's more like, like black kids, basketball, obviously more black kids, but baseball, it was more, going to those tournaments and, you might be the only black kid there, especially if your parents may not be there with you, if you traveling, you might be the only black kid there. You might be the only black kid on the team. And so you kind of, deal with that, you kind of, it's just kind of like the stereotypes, like I get up there, they expect me to steal, they expect me to be fast. And that's just kind of like what it was. That's what I'm saying. Amir, playing baseball, I'm sure he can relate to that.
Yeah, I can speak to that just briefly. Like they said, as you progress in baseball over time, I did start to realize, not even over time, I was kind of always the only black kid on the team, but I was definitely better than I was better than most of the kids I played with. But from that, looking back at it now, I was also in a way blackballed from playing with other good kids because people see me as a threat. So a lot of the times they would put me on the worst teams, but we would still do good, and I would do good, and I would kind of perform so good that you couldn't deny my talent. But I'm the only black kid on the team. And I remember one time actually, this was in like 2013 when the Trayvon Martin thing had happened. I had a teammate after they had announced he was the guy was innocent or whatever. I had a teammate that had made a comment or something like, "We're happy George Zimmerman got off Amir," like kind of joking around. They didn't say the N word with the R on it, but kind of trying to be funny, alluding to that. Just young stuff, kind of young white guys trying to be funny, quote unquote, but really being racist. But looking back at that, I'm the only black kid on the team. I'm playing with a bunch of white kids. Like KJ said, they kind of put you under a lot of stereos. So as I got older, it definitely, I wouldn't say at the time it probably affected me because I was just young and what you just don't know at the time, you just don't know. But definitely looking back and as I'm older, I do start to see kind of how I was basically treated from playing a sport that's predominantly white and Hispanics, and I'm a good black kid. So I kind of got the short end of the stick most of the time on a lot of things.
So anybody in the audience, does anybody play baseball? Yeah, you do? Anybody over here? Anybody play a predominantly white sport? Anybody? Tennis, golf,
I like to do lacrosse.
lacrosse? Lacrosse is cool. We have actually
Have our Damian Butler.
yeah, Damian Butler, one of our director of finance, he's a lacrosse team, and I coach tennis. And let me tell you, it is difficult bringing a all-black or minority team to a predominantly white space. I have to fully prepare them, like, listen, you don't need to say anything, let me handle it. So I can only imagine what it's like, especially for you, Corey, being in Romania. Like, are there any obstacles that you deal with that is in regards to race?
Not really. It's just they kind of look at you different, walking to restaurants, walking back home and stuff like that. I get a lot of eyes just walking past and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. It's not bad, in the city that I play in, the fans love us. They love the team, and I'm playing great right now, so they love me as well. So when they see me, it's all love and stuff like that. But like for the people that don't know who I am or people who are not fans of basketball, and when I'm walking around, they definitely kind of look at me a little weird. You know what I'm saying? It's because probably they never seen a black person before. Or it's different,
Crazy. All right, we have one final question in regards to culture that Melanie that Melanie's gonna ask.
Okay, so, sorry. Do you feel like athletic programs provide enough mental health support, especially for Black athletes?
I don't think so. I never really me personally, I never really thought that deep into the mental health stuff. But I don't know. I think it definitely needs to be pushed more. So I think it needs to be pushed more for sure.
Well, I agree. I think it could be pushed more. I feel like I wasn't really exposed to the mental health side of things until I got to college. And it was just kind of the therapist, they could be someone you might not relate to. They kind of, it's like the vibe is just like, you're just not someone I would really talk to like that. And that's why I kind of encourage you guys earlier, finding whether it be a spiritual leader, a mentor, even at this age. But I feel like now I'm not sure, in the prior years, but I feel like nowadays, like it's become just so much more relevant and a talked about topic. And especially just like with the social media stuff, there's just so many eyes on you. It's so many eyes on you, and people can comment on anything. And as they say, the internet is undefeated, and that's why I talk about having that eye discipline as far as like what you kind of feed in your spirit. But it definitely was not exposed to me until college. In college, I did not use it. In NFL, they have a person in the facility. I think I've probably done like 2 sessions with them, and it was like, I didn't really know I didn't really like it like that, And then being a believer, it was like, okay, even myself, I had to balance, like, okay, should I be talking to a therapist? Should I be talking to my pastor? Like, I didn't feel guilty for talking to the therapist. I'm like, okay, can this guy really help me? Like my pastor would help me. So I kind of had to learn that. Like, it's okay to speak to a therapist and your pastor. You know what I'm saying? It's different things. I had to kind of learn that. But this year I'm actually open to speaking to a therapist. I think the perception of it is always like a negative thing, like you got to kind of be going through something or something got to be wrong. But I mean, some of the best players in the NFL, for instance, like my quarterback Kirk Cousins, Kirk that made probably over $300 million in the NFL. He talked to a therapist every week. And it's not because anything is wrong. He's just talking. He's just chatting. Talking about his goals, talking about his financial goals. Just talk. It's almost like verbal journaling. It's not like that anything is wrong. So a lot of times it has like a negative kind of connotation, and then it actually doesn't.
So you
So
don't have to go to a therapist just because you think something is wrong. It could just be, again, that expression of, hey, what are my goals? What do I want to do? Trying to talk through that. Okay, my last question, and then we're gonna let you go. We appreciate you being here. Do you think that we put too much pressure on student athletes to be great and going into the NFL and NBA? Like as a parent, do you think parents live vicariously through their students, or is it just too much pressure right now?
I don't think it's too much pressure. I feel like it's up to the kid. If I don't have kids, but I can imagine if my kid was a 13-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid, and he looks at me, he said, Dad, I want to go to the NFL. But me being in the NFL, okay, I'm gonna show you the steps to get there. And I feel like it's on the parent to discern, what is too much, like what's too serious. You shouldn't have your kid lifting weights when he's 6 years old. I'm like, that's too much. Like just have them do push-ups or some sit-ups or something like that. Let the kids be kids until they themselves can decide, okay, this is something that I want to be serious with. So I would say that I feel like it's just kind of up to the kid, and I think that's just the parents' discernment of, okay, like what can my kid handle, like the competition level, how hard my kid wants to work. And I think that's all. I think it all kind of goes back down to communication. So like sometimes if you're a single mother, you don't have experience with that, talking to someone, talking to a youth coach, talking to someone else that may have played, even if it was not the professional level, or just about advice about that. But I feel like there is a world where there's it can be too much, but I don't think there should be parents pressuring their kids like you got to make it to the league. Definitely not, because football, sports is just an avenue. This is not we play in a kids game, and you play until a certain years old, and then you have so much more life ahead of you, and it's just an avenue and a platform to do what we really all call here to do.
Thank you. Corey, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't think well, I know my dad was the type of parent he put the ball in my hand first, and then after that it was me. Like, what I'm saying, if you want to do this, you got to work hard, what I'm saying? And I'm asking him to go work out and do all this type of stuff. So like KJ said, I think it's more so for the kid. Like the kid gotta want it, what I'm saying? But also I don't think parents should be like super, oh, you gotta do this and that, what I'm saying? I feel like the kid should want it. And if the kid don't want it, then that's that. But yeah.
Back in the audience, do you guys feel pressure to play sports, or like your parents are pressuring you to do great? No. A little bit. How about over here?
Well,
Here,
I will say one of the things that my mom had kind of taught me, like originally she put me in sports because I was a young black kid with a bunch of energy, and so they were like, oh, this kid, and I'm my auntie Risa can probably allude to this, but when I was a kid, they're like, oh, this kid might have ADHD. He has so much energy, and the teacher, she's like, he's fine. He just got energy. So that's why my mom put me in sports to teach me discipline, to teach me teamwork, to teach me adversity. Because sports teaches you so many other things. But the one thing that she did, teach me is like, if you do this, you're not gonna quit. If things don't go bad, you're not gonna quit. You're not gonna just go quit on your team. If you have a bad play, I was like a little kid, like my mom, she'd tell me all these stories. Like I used to yell at my teammates, tell them they suck and all types of stuff. And I'm like, I was a kid, and she like that I had to learn teamwork. I had to learn the communication. And it was like, okay, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna work your hardest at it and excel at it. Or if your hardest and the best you could do was 2 points, that's what it was. But you put your all into it, you know what I'm saying? And if you're gifted, then you can have 20 points, but you putting your all into it. That was one of the things how kind of it was more measured more than what is your level of greatness? You know, if your best is 2 points, hey kid, you did your best. You know what I'm saying? And okay, maybe the NBA ain't for you, but you did your best, and you know you learn that, and when you go take that to your next career, you know you can use that. So I think in that way more so of you got to make it to the NFL, or you got to do like you just got to give your best. And if the Lord bless you enough with talents to to go to those levels and things like that, then so be it.
Well, we appreciate you all coming on. Yeah. Rick Blandy is definitely very proud. Teresa is very proud. All of the administration, you guys, we appreciate you giving back to the community and talking to the young men. So if I can get one more round of applause for them.
Thank you.
The adults, please come in, please come in so they can see you guys. Step back there so they can see you.
We have a whole crew here.
Yeah. All my principals, all of you guys come in, the panelists come in, please. Panel ladies, come on in, turquoise, all of them. Panelists, y'all come up here, please.
Look like your dad.
And we got one other panelist, Fred Cofield is an Ypsilanti High School player. He is on his way. Panelists, come up here, principals. I personally want to say thank you so much. I am a social worker. Mental health is near and dear to my heart for my own personal reasons. And I am determined that our men, all of our men, especially our Black men, be comfortable enough to talk about mental health. Put yourself to be comfortable enough to talk about mental health, vulnerable enough to share their story, to understand that somebody somewhere is waiting to hear what they're going through. I hope you gentlemen out here who came, who made it, I don't know if you had a choice or you were just signed up because I said I need 30 people. But I thank you for coming. I thank you for asking questions. I am proud of Corey Allen. I'm proud of KJ Osborne, Amir Osborne. They gave me the flux. Me and KJ gonna have some conversation. Me, him, and Amir gonna have some conversation when I get over to DC because I've been sweating. Me and Taryn been talking. She like, they coming. I'm like, I don't really know. They grown. They do whatever they want to do. But I am very proud. I'm proud of all of these are my friends. Everybody in here, all my adults, these are my friends. Johnny, we played baseball, co-ed baseball. Tell him I can play, Johnny.
Yeah, she can play. Yep. It was years ago, but yeah, we can do it.
Can't play no more. OPO. Tell him I'm a good friend.
Genuine.
Right, there it is, genuine.
Wise, tell them how my mama loved you more. She loved me.
It's a fact. Better leave that boy alone. Thank you, Mom.
Coach Brown, tell them how I am your biggest headache.
No, I'm probably his biggest headache.
Turquoise, let me say this. I'm calling out people, but because I love them. Turquoise is behind the scenes. She like, stop calling my name. She is truly behind the scenes. She did all the decorations. I got Steve out there. Me and Steve met when he looked like Jesus. Y'all didn't know that. He looked like Jesus. Sprayed with him, thought he was Jesus at one time. He had long hair, but he been rocking. Kyle out there rocks with me. Santinio, I met him, and I still don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I just say it. But he came on and brought Sean on and has been excited. So y'all meet with him this afternoon. Tanika made herself. She like, I'm gonna meet you, Teresa. Vereen, that's my girl. She my piece. That's my media. She my piece right there. And then I got Dr. Chelsea, and where Leslie at? I don't know, Dr. Chelsea. This my girl right here, and that's my sister Kenyatta back there. I just tell her what to do. I just tell everybody what to do. I don't lie, y'all. Y'all know me. I have lived. I lean until I tell everybody. I tell them what to do. I tell them how to do. I call Opio. He said, "What you want on the shirt?" Finally, I said, "I'm a social worker. You the graphic artist. Do what you do." Because if it's with me, I have a whole lot of words, and y'all be mad. But thank you.
We love you, Sheree.
I'll be getting with you guys later about some other stuff. Thank you, Melanie. Taryn is, I rock with her, we rock, we box, we box, so,